Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Satchidanandarupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Mukam karoti vachalam Panghum langhayate girim Yat kripa tamaham vande Paramanandamadhavam. Paramanandamadhavam. Om Vang me manasi pratisthita Mano me vachi pratishthitam Aviravirmaedhi Vedasya ma'anisthaha Shrutam me ma prahasihi Anena dhitena ahoratran sandadhami Rudam vadishyami Satyam vadishyami Tanmam avatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu mam Avatu vaktaramavatu vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punaha Punaha. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murare He Nath Narayana Vasudeva Jihve pibasvamritametadeva Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. He Krishna He Yadava He Sakheti. He Krishna He Yadava He Sakheti. He Krishna He Yadava He Sakheti. First of all, I'm sure you all must have had a very good Navratri celebrations and must have had a good time during Dashera also. I'm sure it must have been a very blessed time. So in the last session, we were looking at verse number 44, shloka number 44, I will read the shloka and we'll take it further. I explained the literal meaning of this shloka in the last session, but let's look at it in a little bit detail before we move on further. भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते. भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते. So in this shloka, we were seeing in this verse, we were seeing in the last session, Bhagwan is concluding his discussion of praising in the approach of Yoga Buddhi, which is Karma Yoga Buddhi, and for praising the Karma Yoga Buddhi, Bhagwan is talking about the limitations of the buddhi, of the karma, of the action which is engaged by people without a yoga buddhi in it. So everybody is doing action. So I told you action is divided into two portions now. One is an action done as a mere action. Whatever may be the objective behind it, that's a different subject altogether. Another one is the same action done with a yoga buddhi, which is karma yoga buddhi, actions done in that spirit. So Bhagwan is trying to talk about the limitations or the negatives of the action done without yoga buddhi, and the purpose is not to put down the action or mere action. It's not putting down or trying to say that don't do any action at all, it's all worthless. That's not what Bhagwan is saying. Bhagwan is trying to enlist the shortcomings of mere action for the purpose of praising action with karma buddhi. So I told you, there are two ways to praise something. One is giving direct praise of the thing by explaining the benefits of it. Bhagwan is saying, because it's very popularly known, action is a very popular thing. Everybody knows it, right? Right from school days, we are all pushed down into the fact that, continue to do action, do action, do action. So we don't need anyone to explain us, why should we do actions? Everybody is already aware of it. Rather, we have been doing action in many, many different spirits all through our life. So the importance of action, nobody has to say. So rather than explaining in detail the benefits of Karma Yoga Buddhi or why a Karma Yoga is praised, so Bhagwan used one verse explaining the importance of what are the benefits of Yoga Buddhi. He first explained that, right? Once he explained that, then he started to further elaborate or praise the Karma Yoga Buddhi by explaining the limitations of already known actions. Already known actions means already known way of doing actions. We are all into actions by any chance. So what is the praise Bhagwan did first for Karma Yoga Buddhi? He did it in the 40th verse. नेहा अभिक्रमनाशोस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते अभिक्रमनाशः नास्ति प्रत्यवायः न विद्यते स्वल्पमपि अस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्. Even if you are able to do a little bit with little bit buddhi of karma yoga buddhi, it helps us free from big fear of this whole samsar or this whole fear of this creation and its related aspects. It frees us from that fear, which Bhagwan explained as a direct praise of Karma Yoga Buddhi first. Then he started explaining what happens, what are the limitations of mere action, and he started with the 42nd verse first. He started with the 41st verse. Bahushaka yanantascha buddheyo avyavasayinam यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रवदन्त्य विपश्चितः वेदवादरताः पार्थ नान्यनस्तीदिति वादिनः कामात्मन. 43 and 44 are key shortcomings of mere action. And first, in the 41st verse, he just explained the overview of the limitation of action, that it is bahushaka, whereas Karma Yoga Buddhi is, single line, and objective is one, goal is one, whereas mere action sprouts are into different actions. You have to manage many different branches, many different things. You need to know this, you need to know that, and everything has to be protected. So it's a very confusing arena when you go into a mere action stage of working culture. Then he starts in the 42nd verse, he spoke about yamimam pushpitam vacham, that there are people who praise endlessly this method of mere action, and they endlessly praise it, saying that nothing else is there, don't worry about devotion, don't worry about anything, just follow the action. And they say that they will quote portions of the verses from Vedas and say that Veda also says this, Veda also talks about that. Na anyad asti iti vadina. Apart from this, there is nothing else in this creation to know, nothing else in this creation to work hard for. Then Bhagavan pointed out the key limitation of mere action. He said that kamatmanaha swargapara. What is their end goal? What is the end goal of the people who do mere action? Kamatmanaha, fulfillment of their desire. And okay, that is for or this world where they are living right now. And after this, their goal is maximum up to Swarga, heaven. But they don't understand the limitation of that. Okay, you may get at luxury, or you may get comfort in this life. Yes, that is there. Bhagavan is not saying that it's not there. Definitely it is there. Or if your action is too good, you may get Swarga also, heaven also. But don't forget that for all these results for you to gain, what is the end goal? This whole action methodology is going to lead you into it's janma karma falapradam. It is only going with one end goal, that it will prompt you, it will force you to take further births. You will have to come here, whether you go into different loka, then again come back here. Once those punyas are over, again come back here. And he says what? Kriya Vishesha Bahulam, which we saw in the last verse, which is 43rd. Kriya Vishesha Bahulam Bhogeshwarya Gatim Prati. And they all lead into different particular actions. It's not that one thing you are trained and you just go with that. Everything will be further branched out. Bahushaka he spoke about, or in the last verse, which is 41st verse, also last verse. As Bahushaka means it will be like different steps you have to do, different things you have to know. Kriya Vishesha Bahulan, they will tell you about particular actions to be done. Do this, then do this. If you don't come to do, when after doing this, if you don't get the result, change the action and do this. So it will go into very particular action. And what is going to be the end result of it? There are only two things which you achieve by doing that way. Bhoga, Aishwarya. This is where we explained in the last session. Now Bhagavan in this 44th verse says, is the limitation of what happens with those people who are only doing kamatmana, fulfilling their desires, with maybe end goal or swarga. Many may not even have the vision of next life after this, because they think this is the only life they have, and let's make a merry out of this life alone, because there is no other life. Well, they may think, anybody can think like that, but just because you think like that, that doesn't become true. You don't know something doesn't mean that ultimately that is not there. You are knowing or not knowing is beneficial or loss to you, but technically things will remain the way it is. By I don't know the law, that doesn't mean that I'm free from the law. Law will definitely have its own stand. Whether I know or not, that's my problem. In the same way, there are people who may not have faith in the next life. For them, Bhoga and Aishwarya is the only limitation. There are some who have faith in the afterlife. So for them, it will lead up to, they will definitely want comfort and pleasure in this life also. Bhoga and Aishwarya, power and luxury and comfort in this life also. Oh, and they would also want that, once they leave from here, it is the heavenly life or the life of comfort and luxury continues. Along with power, it continues. But yes, it's going to lead them into different lives. That's a different thing. Bhagavan says in the 44th verse, where we left last session, what happens to these people who have this gati? Gati means the final, destination. Their final destination is Bhoga Aishwarya. It will lead them into only that. Whether it is this life or next life, that is a different subject, but it will lead to that only. What happens to these people who have this final goal and final destination of Bhoga and Aishwarya? And remember, Bhoga means comfort and luxury, and Aishwarya means power. So I told you in the last session, there are many people who just remain that, my life is comfortable, my life is full of my comforts, my desires are fulfilled, I have a luxurious life. For some people, that much is enough. But there are some other kind of people who are also action oriented, but they don't stop with comfort and luxury. Okay, there are three categories of people here. One is people who have Bhoga and Bhoga as the only goal. I am working hard so that my life is comfortable, my life is full of luxury. I have a very comfortable life. I don't have to look back at all. So it is only about objective is circling around comfort and luxury. So they want as much money as which can make their life comfortable and luxurious. There are some people, the second category of people, who don't stop at bhoga only. It's that's not their goal only, that my life should be comfortable and luxurious, but it will be good if I have power also. So what we call that what? Power crazy or power hungry people. So they are ready to, and those kind of people, well, some of them, they are ready to even forego comfort and luxury for the power. That is the reason I use that second category of people, well, who are, for whom power is more important than actually comfort and luxury. It's not that they don't want comfort and luxury. I don't think that. They definitely want, but for them, power becomes more important. So they are power crazy people. The third category I'm talking about now are those people who definitely want to, have comfort and luxury, but it will be good if I have power also. So they want both. Now, amongst this third category of people, you can make your own way of judging. Though that third category can also be split into two parts. For them, for some of them, power will be more important than comfort and luxury. For some of them, comfort and luxury will be more important than power. Then there will be another category which can make in the third category. But remember, these people all want power and comfort and luxury, all of them together. There will be third kind of people within this third category, that it will be good, they will have equal kind of a measurement, that I need power also is equally important, and comfort and luxury is also important. Never mind. And I'm just talking about that the categories of people. You can divide that way. Bhagwan says bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya pahrita chetasam. Now Arjun, what happens ends with these kind of a people? These people, with their mind focused on comfort and luxury, they become attached to comfort and luxury and power. Comfort slash luxury I'll use, and power. So they get attached. Their buddhi, their intellect gets attached. They becomes asakta. Bhagwan used the word prasaktanam. Now remember, one word is asakta. Bhagwan is using prasakta. Now in Sanskrit, prakarshena asakta it becomes prasakta. Okay. Now prakarshena asakta means one is asakti. Asakti means attachment. Okay. Then here is just not mere attachment. Now with attachment, there is another pair of opposite which called detachment. If you have got attached to something, situations change in life. With effort, it may be possible for you to detach also. Like I'm just giving you a small example. There are people who gets diagnosed with diabetes. Now, many of the people amongst those who get diagnosed with diabetes, they must have sweet tooth. Sweet tooth means they have love sweets. Okay. Now, doctor said your love for sweet was good enough. You have enjoyed sweets as much as you want, but now your condition is not that good. Now, even if you like sweets, if you want to save yourself and you want to live for a longer period of time, at least some years, few years or whatever, you must drop sweets immediately. Now remember, this was attachment. They had sweet tooth. They used to love sweets. They got attached to sweets also. They cannot live without sweets. They must have thought at that time like that. But when doctors showed them the result, this is your sugar situation. Now, if you eat sweets, it is going to be disastrous and dangerous for you. And you may end up having stroke or something, and then don't tell us. Now, the same attachment, because it was attachment, maybe it was stronger, but that doesn't matter. But till the time it was there as an attachment. Now, this person, because doctor showed him the medical result and showed him what are the disadvantages, this attachment can be among some people. I'm not talking about all. There are some people who have the ability with force, with effort, with really, a good amount of effort, they are able to convert this attachment into detachment also. So even if they go to somebody's house and after food sweets are kept, immediately it will come from their mouth, no, please don't keep it here. Or I must tell you that I've been diagnosed with this thing. Sweets is like this, is like a poison for me right now. So with that knowledge and that understanding, and it is okay for them, and they are able to actually convert that attachment into a detachment. But here Bhagwan is saying what? Praksaktanam. Now remember, Prasaktana means Prakarshana Saktanam. They are so much detached, it is with effort also, it becomes really next to impossible for them to, detach from that thing. That is the reason Bhagwan used the word Prasaktanam. They are like completely attached to it. Because what happens, why they get attached to it, we need to understand a little bit deeper into this whole thing. That is the reason I picked up this verse in a little bit detail today. You know what happens with it? Why the attachment grows and becomes prasakta? Why do they become prasakta with that? Because they start to derive happiness from this thing, with whatever they're doing. Bhoga can be of many types. Somebody gets it from car, somebody gets it from luxury, somebody gets it from comfort around them, somebody gets it from jewelry, somebody gets it from cosmetics, somebody can be, expensive thing. There are many, many things I can talk about in this whole world. Things may be different, but ultimately what happens is they start to, objectify things in their mind, and their mind accepts this fact that I am deriving happiness from this. So remember, the attachment and becomes with the happiness derived from the object. But since object is the reason for that deriving of happiness, the attachment spreads into the object also, because they think that the object is the one which is giving them happiness. So whatever happiness they derive from it because of that, they starts to want it first, like it, want it, then becomes, it becomes desire, then it becomes attachment, then it becomes deep attachment. And deep attachment is what is Bhagwan is using as prasaktana. Now what happens, Bhagwan says, with this kind of a deep attachment, and remember it's for both, bhoga and aishwarya. It could be with power or it could be with comfort and luxury. What happens with them? Bhoga aishwarya prasaktanam taya apahruta chetasam. And I use the word, their wisdom and knowledge is stolen. What happens? Why it gets stolen? Actually, Taya Pakruta Chetasam, I used two words last time. One is the word that, it gets stolen. When we say stolen means Bhoga and Aishwarya, or the happiness which is derived from this Bhoga and Aishwarya, which is comfort / luxury and power, that at happiness, it steals or robs them of their wisdom and knowledge. Now, another way I told in the last session was, Taya Apahruta means it gets kidnapped. Apaharan, and use the word. Their wisdom and knowledge is kidnapped by Bhoga and Aishwarya. Another one and way I am using now to tell you is that what happens is, this object from which they are deriving happiness, and the feeling of that happiness actually comes and sits in their mind. Remember, the object is outside. The deriving of happiness, the feeling of happiness is inside the mind. But mind becomes so engrossed and attached, so sticky to that thing, so sticky to that position, or that object or whatever thing, in that this object replaces knowledge and wisdom in their intellect and starts sitting in their intellect. Now remember, now intellect space, from the intellect space, wisdom and knowledge is gone. So once the knowledge is gone, that means this man falls into the category of ignorant. Okay? Once the wisdom is gone, that means since the wisdom is not available and the knowledge is already gone, on his way of making decision, his way of interpreting things may not be correct because wisdom is completely gone. So object replaces these two things inside his intellect, and now because this is gone, what is left is, which is what Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji uses in his Bhashya, Achadita Viveka Prajnana. His Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji uses a very discounted word. His wisdom and knowledge is actually covered. He uses the word. Covered means it's completely covered, not available for his own work. When wisdom and knowledge is not available, that is called achhadit. It is covered. It is completely engrossed and engulfed in that thing, so that remains unavailable for this person for his own purpose. Now, one way to look at this whole thing is that prasaktanam, I'm using another word here. Now remember, when we say asakti means what? Or prasakti means what? We become actually bound by it. The kind of happiness we derive from this object makes us bound to that object, and we think, in how we get bound by this, we feel that without this object, or without, when I use the word object, you can translate it to many things. Asakti can be with people also, can be with relation also, can be with object also, can be with things also, can be with many many different things. You can just think over it from your own perspective, but I'm using object here because I'm objectifying everything here. So what happens with them at this point in time? And because of this whole process, their intellect is not available for them at all, and since it is completely covered, their decision making power is actually lost. Because of that, because of deriving happiness from this, they start to feel that this object is very important for me, this object or thing is very important for me to continue to get happiness in my life. And then what is the conclusion which the intellect comes with? Because intellect is not available, knowledge is not available, wisdom is not available. Intellect in the raw form is there, minus of knowledge and wisdom, and it makes a very stupid conclusion that without this object, I will not be able to derive happiness. So I start to become dependent for my happiness on that object, thing, relation, or people, or whatever, whichever way you can put that in. So my dependency I become bound. So actually asakti is the name of binding only, because asakti binds us. Now remember, my entire work in life, my effort in life will be with the first priority to protect that thing, because I've already made this conclusion in my mind that this is important and drop that important for me to continue to be happy in my life, because I've tied my happiness to that. Now remember, we were never born with that, and we are never going to go with that also. I do not know how this thought has come up in our mind, and it has created a resonance in our mind, and it refused to be going from there. It's like it came first, took the space of intellectual space on rent. Now it is claiming ownership of that space, because of the rent agreement loss or whatever reason. It stayed there for a long period of time. It starts taking ownership of that intellect space, and it starts to make us bound and will make us do the way it wants us to do the thing. That is called binding, bandhan. So Bhagwan says, Arjun, now this is what happens with them. Now remember, comfort and luxury is not responsible for this. Bhoga and Aishwarya is not responsible for this. This is why our Puranas become very important. And remember, Janakji, there are many. Janakji is also a position. Sitaji's father was also Janakji. Then after that also many Janakjis were there. They were all kings. They ever had pinnacle of luxury in their life. But the one thing was that luxury never bound them. See, comfort and luxury, what happens is it completely depends on our knowledge and wisdom, how we take them. They all can be a tool. They all can be equipment. They all can be a helping hand for me to grow further. But they cannot be the ultimate goal at all. That is the reason Bhagavan is saying, Bhoga Ishwarya Prasaktanam Taya Apahruta Chetasam. Arjun, remember, they get bound by this thing, and then that takes them for a ride and will make them do things the way it wants us to do things, because their own intellect and wisdom, their own knowledge and wisdom is gone. So Janakji is one example I gave. Now, and there are many examples we can think of even there is one more example which comes in our Srimad Bhagavat also. That's of Parikshit Maharaj. Now, Parikshit Maharaj also, when the whole episode of the curse fell on him, it didn't take time for him at all to give up everything. One night he gave up everything. And after giving up everything, he thought this is the best opportunity for me. There is a good reason which has arisen also. Oh, for me to give up these things. And then he just gave up everything to his children, and he then just went away. Now, please mark this word Bhoga and Aishwarya, because Bhagwan is wanting to tell us as that why he's saying that. Now, remember another aspect of Bhoga and Aishwarya. Now, Bhoga, which is comfort or luxury, is at the level of body. Now, that's another difference I'm going to tell you now. Bhoga is always, comfort and luxury is always at the level of body. Okay. Now, remember, even though it is outside the body, it is at the level of body. Enjoyment is done through the body, but actual enjoyment is experienced by the mind. Okay, that is the level of bhoga. Whereas Aishwarya is what is not at the level of body, it's clearly at the level of mind. The what do you call that? There are many people who have spoken to me also before and said that there is a very big kick in the power. And I gave you in one of my podcasts also, many people who stay in the bureaucratic, senior positions for a long period of time, when they become retired, because remember the respect and things they got was for the position they had. And in this world, no position is permanent. Remember, no position is permanent, no comfort or luxury is permanent. It cannot be permanent also, because that's the swabhava, that's the nature of the things. Position is also a situation, and comfort and luxury is also a situation. It will come and go whether you want it or not. But the problem what happens is, people stuck in these two things, they fight a lost battle of trying to hold this ever in their life. There are many examples I can talk about from Purana and Itihas also. One is Ravana, right? We just celebrated Dashera a few days back. So this example is very easily understood. He also wanted to be, infinitely available here. So he wanted to become Amar. And he said that I should not die. And he went on to do tapas to ask for this boon from Brahmaji also. But then doesn't understand, when Brahmaji gave also, he had to make some exceptions. It reminds me of the kind of offers which come in today. With very fine lines it's written, terms and conditions apply. So whatever you ask in this creation always will come with terms and conditions. You cannot think that something will be without any terms and condition available for you throughout the life. How can that be possible? How can you even conceive that idea? It's not possible at all. So Bhagwan says, Arjun, so when you talk about Bhog and Aishwarya, the other aspect of you to understand is, Aishwarya is more at the level of mind. Power is experienced as a sukha at the level of mind, whereas Bhoga is more at the outside level, outside the body. Now, remember one thing, I should also not only talk about the limitations of these things. Yes, I told you when I started today's session that Bhagwan is not telling that these are not there. Huh? Please don't consider that at all. Bhagwan is saying definitely if you work hard, these things will come to you. Okay? If you work hard, it's not that these things don't come to you. When you stay as a jiva, and when you stay as a jiva and do these kind of actions, do actions, hard work, do hard work, these things will definitely come in your life. But the only problem, the reason why Bhagwan is raising is that he is only highlighting the danger of getting stuck there. Please remember, he's not saying these things don't come. Why I'm repeating it again and again? Don't think that Gita Ji is talking, through Gita Ji, Bhagwan is talking something which is not possible. Why is he, so much discarding, or why is he putting down so many things? Please remember, Bhagwan is not saying at all, nowhere he's saying these things won't come. Bhagwan is definitely saying, Bhagwan is highlighting it because these things will come. But he is only trying to show us the limitations or the disadvantage of getting stuck at these things only. When you do Karma Yoga also, don't think Karma Yoga, these things won't come. This is the result of action, it will definitely come. But because your buddhi is attached to Ishvara, or your buddhi is attached to a higher ideal, you won't get stuck at these things. Your chetas would not or become apahruta. Taya apahruta. This won't become. It will not get unnecessarily attached and stuck to these things. It will definitely have these things and it will keep them at the level they are. So Bhagwan is trying to teach us this thing so that we learn an art of keeping things or giving importance to things of what importance they deserve in our life. Bhagwan is telling, please remember, your life is not to be wasted at only doing efforts for these things alone. These things will come even if you do Karma Yoga also. You don't think that you do Karma Yoga with Ishvara in mind, with God in mind, and you do action for Him. Don't think that Bhagwan will take away your results of action. Bhagwan is not he's not wanting anything in their life, because already everything is Bhagwan's only. We are only borrowing from him through our actions and everything. So remember, here Bhagwan is only wanting and explaining the danger of getting stuck with these things. Let your intellect be free. Even when you have a bhoga, or which is comfort and luxury at the level of body, enjoy them, don't worry about that, enjoy them, but don't get stuck in it. When you get stuck in it, the problem what happens is that your mind gets attached things at a wrong place. They give wrong importance for things in the life, and it actually bars your growth. It stops you from growing in life. So Bhagwan is only telling us that just keep it at the place which it deserves in life. You don't need to take it further inside your mind at all. Your mind, your intellect should not get attached to these things, so that your wisdom and knowledge is available for you. Don't create something in life where you are bound by certain things in life. Don't be bound. You have to work for these things, are just kept at the outside level, but the ultimate objective of your life should be, you want to become free. Free means what? Total freedom. You can achieve it. You can achieve total freedom. Now remember, just remember the state that because of Bhog and Aishwarya, you are bound. And the work towards your total freedom is also washed away. And what you could achieve in this human life, that also you don't achieve. And you just stuck in these things. You come again and again, birth here. What is the point of your life? Now, that's why Bhagwan is saying, please don't accept this bondage at all. I'll be free from all these things. And now Bhagwan says, at the result, what happens because of the Bhogeshwara Prasaktanam, because their wisdom and knowledge is stolen. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadhau na vidhiyate. Because their intellect is gone, their intellect is devoid of knowledge and wisdom, or the intellect is robbed of the knowledge and wisdom. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, how will they be able to retain this Vyavasayatmika buddhi? And I explained you Vyavasayatmika buddhi in the 41st verse. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, literal translation is Nischayatmika buddhi. Nischayatmika buddhi means a firm intellect, a firm goal driven intellect. They are not able to carve out such a thing in their life at all. In their intellect. Because why? Because Bahushaka, Hi Anantascha, they have many branches to take care. They go into different directions, many particular actions. Their energy is dissipated into so many different directions. Their energy is not available for their own vertical growth at all. Now, one more thing I wanted to just say. I talk about horizontal growth and vertical growth. What happens with the horizontal growth? One more thing you need to remember. If you just think, if all your energy is dissipated into only horizontal growth, and remember, horizontal growth also is not permanent. It's a temporary growth. Of course, some may have for a longer period of time. The period of time may vary between person to person, but it is definitely for a limited period of time. And some people have it till retirement. Some people have it for some period of time. Then the COVID came a couple of years ago. Many companies is retrenched their employees. Many said goodbye to many people, and many people gave their study also. I worked so hard for so many long years in this company, but company did not even think twice before removing me from the position. Now I'm devastated and all. Why? Because you gave too much importance to that. That is what happens. That is the disaster which happens if you only concentrate on your vertical growth. Remember, only concentrate on your horizontal growth. I'm sorry. If you only concentrate on your horizontal growth, remember, horizontal growth also, there, even if you work hard towards it, there will be ups and downs, because situations never remain permanent. They keep changing. Sometime COVID was there, sometimes something else will be there, something else will be there, sometimes recession will come. These are things outside your control. You can't, just because you work hard, that doesn't mean situation will remain always the same, because they are pair of opposite. So Bhagwan is saying in Arjun, the thing is, don't dissipate, don't spend all your energy on your horizontal growth. You have no energy left for your vertical growth. Now, the point I wanted to bring is, remember, in the horizontal growth also, how much amount of hard work you do, you still need vertical growth for you to manage yourself in the horizontal growth also. Now remember that, without spirituality, without spiritual knowledge, how long will you sustain? How long will you keep yourself motivated? How long will you run? Situations won't remain permanent for you ever. They will keep changing. Something will be different, something will change. Sometime some people say, I worked hard in this company, the boss, such a person came that I can't stay one day in this company. Now you can't control that, right? Horizontal growth also, for being steady on horizontal growth also, you need some vertical effort. Vertical effort will keep you on in the horizontal growth also, and after a point in time you will know for sure that because you're spending some time on the vertical growth only, not wasting, or no, I'm sorry for using the word wasting. That is how many people say, not only spending whole of your energy on the horizontal growth only, no energy left for vertical growth at all. You come tired, work so many hours a day and all those things, your vertical growth is left aside. Now when the problems arise in the horizontal growth, in that arena, who will be there to help you? Some people have enough punya that some people come for their support. Some may not have enough punya or enough merits in their life. Nobody comes for their support, and they take drastic steps in their life because there is no word. They did not spend any effort on the vertical growth at all. So remember, the amount of effort you put on the vertical growth, amount of energy you spend on the vertical growth, how much less amount that may be, that is what is going to keep you motivated and going on the horizontal growth and help you manage ups and downs of the horizontal growth. So that is very important for you to understand. And in this is verse, Bhagwan is using the word samadhav is used for antakaran. Okay, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji says that, because of such people who are robbed of their wisdom and knowledge, that is why their intellect loses the energy, loses the focus, and they are not able to come up to vyavasayatmika buddhi, or a firm resolve in their intellect, a firm goal in their intellect. And about firm resolve about what? Now remember what Bhagwan is saying, the topic he started. Sankhya Yogeva. In the subject of both Sankhya and Karma Yoga, they are not able to develop up a firm intellect, a firm resolve. Rather, they are not able to even turn towards this path at all. Now, in Bhagavad Gita, in Gita Ji especially, these two kinds of intellect are praised very much. And a firm kind of an intellect is required to be developed for these both subjects. Of course, to start with is Karma Yoga, which will prepare our intellect to receive or understand the intellectual understanding of Sankhya. Sankhya means Atma Vishaye, okay, Brahma Vishaye. We will be able to develop an intellect for us to grow further vertically. The thing we need to remember is that I told you, even if it is inch by inch, doesn't matter. Whatever effort you put for your vertical growth, it is bound to give you result. it is bound to give you support. That is for 100% sure. But if you talk about only horizontal growth, or every horizontal growth, yes, it may add to your resume to get a different job, to get a different role, but every horizontal growth is not going to add up to you to give you further growth every time. You cannot guarantee that. It depends on external situations also. But vertical growth, whatever amount you put, it is bound to give you result. And remember, the thing is that it's not only going to give you result in this life, it is going to give you result in lives to come, not only about this life. That is the reason why Bhagwan is talking about why it is important for us to carve out an intellect with these kind of buddhi, yoga buddhi and sankhya buddhi. Why it is required? This is the reason. Now, the biggest thing we need to remember from a spiritual understanding perspective is that these two intellects, now I'm marking my word here, these two intellects, the way Bhagwan is explaining, these two intellects, if one is able to come up to in a particular life, actually that is only called achievement. Now, I think I have said that in the previous sessions also. Horizontal growth, and I may have certificate, I may have education, I may have this, that, whatever things. But all that is limited to only this life. I can't, in the next life, when I'm born, I can't say, don't put me to nursery. I was already a PhD in the previous life. I was already a doctor. I was already an engineer. No, you have to go through all those things from the beginning. But this Sankhya and Yoga, why Bhagwan is putting so much emphasis, even if it is a little you are able to achieve in this life, trust me, you have protected your life, your not only life, you protected your life now also, here also, but you have protected your lives also, as in further lives also, because this is what is called actual achievement. This is what is actually called magical thing for you to create. Siddhi, we use the word. This is the kind of real achievement, glorious achievement. This is the kind of star we have got if you are able to achieve it, some portion of it in this life. Now, those intellects which are robbed of wisdom and knowledge, this kind of an intellect they cannot generate. This kind of an understanding they cannot generate. It and it's not only for the subject of Brahman or Atma Vishaye, also for the Karma Yoga Vishaye also, they are not able to develop up this kind of an intellect. Why? Because their intellectual space is robbed by Bhoga and Aishwarya. Okay? The only thing is, Bhagwan is not putting down Bhoga and Aishwarya. I'm repeating myself. Bhagwan is only trying to point to us that don't get overtly attached into it. It just keep it at the level where it needs to be kept so that you are able to concentrate some time. And that Bhagwan is clearly showing you the disadvantage of this is, and you are able to spend some time actually trying to spend on your vertical growth, which is very, very important. Now remember one thing, when you look at your life, don't look outside, don't try to judge with how other people are outside. So one mistake which people do when they get some spiritual knowledge is that they start assessing people outside. No, you see him, he or she is stuck in Bhoga, she is stuck in Aishwarya. Please remember, spirituality does not give you license to judge others. Spirituality is actually gained to assess yourself. Do an introspection of yourself and understand where you stand, and so that you are able to put your effort correctly in life. If and by not going through increasing the attachment and for Bhoga and Aishwarya, for comfort and luxury, and so don't do such disaster for your life. Just try to grow with the whole thing and then move on in life. I'll read Bhagwan Shankaracharyaji's Bhashya so that we can just look at it very see what Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji also says as a bhashya for this. Bhagwan says, Tesham cha bhogaishwarya prasaktanam bhogah kartavyam aishwaryam cha iti bhogaishwaryayoho evam pranayavatam tadatma bhutanam taya kriya vishesha bahulaya vacha अपहृत चेतसाम आच्छादित विवेक प्रज्ञानाम व्यवसायात्मिका सांख्य योगे व बुद्धि समाधौ समाधीयते अस्मिन् पुरुषोपभोगाय सर्वम इति समाधि अंतःकरणम बुद्धि तस्मिन् समाधौ न विधीयते न भवति इति अर्थः. भगवान शंकराचार्य जी says this very clearly. तेषां च, these people, who are these people? Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam bhogah kartavyam aishwaryam cha iti. Who feels what? Their only duty in life, bhoga kartavyam aishwaryam cha iti, their only duty in life is only to, accumulate things which give them comfort and luxury or power. Work towards only those things which gives them comfort, luxury and power. Cha iti bhogaishwaryayoho eva pranayavatam tadatma bhutanam taya kriya vishesha bahulaya vacha apahrita chetasam. They think that the only duty in their life is to just accumulate these kind of things for comfort and luxury and power. Thinking this, pranayavatam, their love only develops for these things. In their life, they may not have love for anything else. They will have only love for comfort, luxury and power. He says, tadatma bhutanam. And they have become one with this kind of a love. Remember, I told you in one of the sessions, the only pinnacle of love is what? Love will not let you stay separate. That thing which you love, it will always keep making an effort to become one with that thing. That can be person, that can be object, that can be anything. It will not let you sleep. It will always keep rotating in your mind, because love's definition is what? Love means it should lead you to oneness. It would want you to become one with that. Now remember, when I'm talking about love, I'm talking about the love for God also. If we develop devotion and love for God, that will also rise to a level that it will not let us live separate from Him. And He is so beautiful, He'll start making in Himself felt around us. He'll keep making these things that, we feel Him around. He'll never leave us alone. There are many shlokas I'm going to quote in the next verse also. So he says, they become tadatma bhutanam. They become one with that thing. And what? And with this kriya vishesha bahulaya vacha apahrita chetasam achhadita viveka prajnanam. And with these kind of words which elaborately talks about particular actions, different actions, and those kind of words, takes away their mind, and their whole wisdom and knowledge is covered by these things. That is why vyavasayatmika sankhya yogeva buddhi samadhau na vidhiyate. Now, because of samadhiyate, he says, because of this thing, in their intellect, the nischayatmika buddhi, vyavasayatmika buddhi, about what? Sankhya yogeva, which is what I explained, and about the subject of the self, which is the supreme consciousness, and yoga, karma yoga, which is the route to clean up our mind or make it pure, to grasp the subject of self, the supreme consciousness. This kind of thing doesn't stay in their intellect at all. Samadhiyate asmin purushopabhogaya sarvam iti. Which kind of intellect? For intellect is that space. Bhagavan uses a very good word here. Samadhiyate asmin purushopabhogaya sarvam iti samadhi antakaranam buddhi. He says his intellect is what? For the bhoga, for the consumption, for the usage of a purusha. Purusha means, don't think purusha is three here. For a human, he is talking about. For a jiva, for a purusha, all the things for enjoyment or all the things for the consumption, where it is established, it's established in your intellect. Intellect only says to, between intellect and mind, if mind becomes more powerful, well, it stores the data in the intellect that this thing, how do you know that something gave you happiness, something gave you ananda? It is stored in the intellect that this thing gave me happiness somewhere. Remember, some things are stored from many different lives also. Oh, and so he says, where things of the data of these kind of things of, what gives you happiness, liking and everything is stored, that is called samadhi. Samadhi means antakaranam buddhi. Tasmin samadhau na vidhiyate na bhavati iti artha. And with this kind of an understanding, we have to understand, in this kind of an intellect which is already covered, whose knowledge and wisdom is already covered by bhoga and aishwarya, with that asakti, the knowledge and the intellect where this understanding is supposed to stay, there is no space left there, it is already covered. So these kind of nishchayatmika, the firm intellect and understanding, doesn't stay in their intellect at all. Now we will move into the next verse, which is 45th verse. Now I want to talk about the 45th verse. One thing, this is a very, very important verse. We need to understand that, and you should understand the whole journey of the way Bhagwan is explaining in Bhagavad Gita. Now the most important part is see the beauty of Bhagavad Gita, the way Bhagwan expounds on topic. It is worth seeing actually. First, he proposes a topic. He splits the topic that, what I told you till now is Sankhya. What I'm going to tell you now is Karma Yoga. Remember, he's not told about what Karma Yoga is yet. So, the way of explanation, you see the beauty of way of explanation of Bhagwan. I don't think anybody can and do it that way. The way he propounds the topic, the way he elaborates the topic is so beautiful that it's worth seeing. So first he proposes a topic in the 40th, in the 39th verse. Bhagwan splits the thing that, till now I gave you Sankhya, now I'm going to talk about Karma Yoga. Now, after this verse, he didn't start elaborating on Karma Yoga. He first said, what is the advantage and what happens with Karma Yoga, why you should do Karma Yoga. He explained the benefit first in the 40th verse. Abhikramanasha nasti pratyavaya na vidyate swalpam api asya dharmasya trayate mahatobhayat. He explained and on the importance of what this Karma Yoga buddhi is going to give you. What is the benefit of that buddhi? Now to elaborate that benefit, he said with the normal, in the common parlance what you see as action, what is the limitation of that action? That was also for praising the Karma Yoga. Why Karma Yoga is important. He now, after giving elaborate praise of Karma Yoga, by way of directly giving praise of Karma Yoga, first explaining why Karma Yoga is important, what is the advantage and benefit of that. Then he listed the shortcomings of mere action, that these are the shortcomings of mere action, and this is the disaster which happens if you continue to do only action, and it is not going to lead you anywhere. This is the end result, this is the end goal, but at the end of the day, you need to remember, if you look back at your life, you have been at a big loss if you only do action. Now Bhagwan, in the 45th verse, he is elaborating what qualities you need to develop before Bhagwan starts expounding Karma Yoga. This shlok, it becomes very, very important. It's going to take, one full lecture probably, one full session probably. I'm going to start this shloka now and we will take the detail in the next session. I'll read the shloka first. Read the verse first. Traigunya vishaya vedaha nistraigunya bhavarjuna nirdvandvo nitya sattvastho niryogatshema atmavan. Traigunya vishaya veda nistraigunya bhavarjuna nirdvandvo nitya sattvastho niryogatshema atmavan. Very, very, very beautiful verse. Now we need to understand this verse needs to be split into two parts to understand. Bhagwan says, Vedaha Vishayaha Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. Now the subject of Veda. Now, when we see the Veda, and the reason I'm saying that, this verse needs to be very clearly understood with you have to focus on this shloka, because sometimes this verse can be misunderstood also. If there is nobody to explain, this verse becomes very difficult to understand. When I read it for the first time, I also understood it incorrectly, unless and until my Guruji, Maharajji, explained in this verse. That is when I really understood what this verse is trying to say. Through this verse, what Bhagwan is trying to tell us, to teach us. He says, Vedaha Vishayaha Traigunya. Now, when we say Veda, don't consider the whole Veda here. When he says Veda, Veda needs to be understood as Karma Kanda. The Karma Kanda portion of Veda talks about the subjects, or talks about achievements which are within three guna. Three guna is what? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Whatever Karma Kanda is expounded, beautifully glorified, whichever way you see it, all that can give you is things and achievements that which is within the three guna. Three guna means Sattva, Rajas and Tamas here. Now, why Bhagwan is saying that? Now I'll elaborate. When I elaborate it, I'll explain you what Bhagwan means by this point. And whatever action you do, now remember one thing, let me just pick up a little bit example to help you understand. Now, when I say Karma Kanda here, the one mistake which people does is that, oh, this verse doesn't apply to us because I don't do Karma Kanda from Vedas. This is a very common thing we say, because their understanding of Karma Kanda of Vedas is what? Yaga and Yajna. No, that's not what Bhagwan means here. At that time, when Treta, Dwapar Yug was there, Dwapar Yug, Treta Yug and Satyug, whatever Karmakand was mentioned in Vedas, they were the prime important thing. Rest of the things used to follow, used to circle around them. Now, we don't follow Karmakand of Vedas, and so we easily say that, oh, Bhagwan is talking about Karmakand, so I am safe. If I don't do Karmakand any which ways, I don't do Yaga and Yajna, so it doesn't apply to me. No! Here, when Bhagwan uses the word Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha, of course, Bhagwan is referring to Karmakanda of Vedas. He is saying that whatever Karmakanda of Vedas you do, whatever they glorify, you will get those achievements. But remember, those achievements will be within the three guna. Now, translated to the current world, Bhagwan is talking about all the actions you do. In the previous verses I spoke about, no, Bhoga and Aishwarya. Bhoga and Aishwarya is within three guna only, no? It's within this creation, no? Creation is what? Trigunatmika. Trigunatmika means three guna. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. I'm going to explain that when I, go forward. But for the moment, you need to understand, Bhagwan says, Arjun, whatever karmakand you do, whatever action you do, the result of it, what you get, is always going to be within the three guna. It's always going to be something which is made from Triguna. Now talk about money, talk about, house, car, objects, anything you talk about. Any achievement you talk about, whatever achievement you get in this life is always going to be within Triguna. So when Bhagwan says Traigunya Vishaya Veda, he's talking about Karmakand from Vedas also. He's talking about mere action outside also, the way we translate it into the current world. Then Bhagwan says what? Now he gives 5 things to Arjuna, 5 gold to Arjuna, and through Arjuna he is giving it to us. Arjun, please remember, in this whole Karmakanda of Vedas and action, whatever you achieve, whatever you get as a result is always going to be within 3 guna. Then Arjun, now what do I want you all to become? What do I want you all to focus upon? Here Bhagwan gives 5 things. Now remember, one thing I want to highlight here. Bhava. Hey Arjuna, Tvam Bhava. You become. And remember, when Bhagwan says Bhava, Bhava is Lot Lakar in Sanskrit. It's an order. He is ordering through Arjuna that this should be your goal. You always have to work towards becoming like this. If you become like this, then remember, your intellect is prepared to receive, prepared for Karma Yoga, and through Karma Yoga you will always be prepared to, get the knowledge of Sankhya, which is Atma Vishaye, Paramatma Vishaye. Bhagwan says Arjuna, hey Arjuna, Tvam Bhava, you become. he's ordering that Arjun, you would focus and become like this. What are the 5 things? Bhagwan says, Arjuna, Nistray Gunyo Bhava. This Bhava will go with all the 5 things I'm talking about now. 5 things as a goal which Bhagwan is giving us. Hey Arjuna, Tvam Nistray Gunyo Bhava, Nirdvandvo Bhava, Nitya Sattvasto Bhava, Niryogatshema Bhava, Atmavan Bhava. 5 things he's giving us. Arjun, whatever actions you do in this creation, the results you get will always be within these triguna. I want you to grow into different things, create an intellectual understanding, and aim at becoming qualified like this by gaining these 5 qualifications. One who has these 5, remember one thing, Bhagwan is saying he will definitely develop a buddhi of Karma Yoga, and through Karma Yoga he'll definitely develop or come into Atma Vishaya, Sankhya Yoga, and he'll definitely be able to achieve the pinnacle of vertical growth, which is reaching the self. Now, what does he mean? I'm going to explain literal meaning today, and we'll take it up in detail in the next session. Nistray Gunyo Bhava. The first word Bhagwan uses. Arjun, you should focus to achieve or keep one goal in your life which is not within this creation, not within this created. Not within this created means within these 3 gunas, which is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Okay? That's the first thing Bhagwan says. Means when he says Nistray Gunyo Bhava, one thing I want to just highlight here, living as a jiva, it is not possible for us to become Nistray Gunya. Then what does Bhagwan mean here? Bhagwan says Nistray Gunyo Bhava means he's not wanting us to cross through the the Trigun here. Remember, Trigun means what? We are all within Trigun. Our intellect and our mind is also made of Trigun, of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So, crossing that is not going to be either way. Bhagwan is not talking something impractical here. So, Nistray Gunyo Bhavas, one meaning, the way my Guruji has explained me, the way I've understood this is that at least correct your goal in life. You should set a goal for yourself. You should choose a goal for yourself which is beyond the 3 gunas. Now, the one way to talk about it in Bhakti's language will be choose God. Right? Because God is beyond Triguna. Triguna is one of the things created by God. So we use this word Maya Gun Gopar. Because he is what? He is beyond Maya and the gunas of Maya. Maya, the way we use it is, Trigun is Maya. And Bhagwan is going to say in the further chapters also, O Mama Maya Duratya, the shloka which he comes, he is going to talk about that. Right? So Triguna is Maya, Trigunatmika Maya. We always call that. Trigun is Maya. And Bhagwan is what? Beyond Maya. So, in this life, set a goal for yourself which is beyond Triguna. That is what the meaning of Nistray Gunyo Bhava should be understood as. I'll explain it further in the next session. Then Bhagwan says, Nirdvandvo Bhava. In this creation, whatever you look at is always in a pair of opposite. Okay? Jai Vijay, as in that, Jai Parajay, Sukh Dukh, Shita Ushna, heat cold, victory defeat, happiness and sorrow. Anything you look in this creation will always have a pair of opposite attached to it. And remember, it's not that I want only Sukha, the Sukha only will come to me. Dukkha will also come. I like summer season, so winter will never come. No, it's not going to happen like that. It will always be moving around in pair of opposites, whether you like it or not. So Bhagwan is saying what? It's not that he's wanting you to, not being affected by it. You will feel it. But Bhagwan is saying what? Don't end up wasting your energy, dissipating in energy, only to try to control or try to fight these things within this pair of opposites. Sometimes the whole life is gone on only trying to manage the pair of opposites. So Bhagavan is saying what? Be, move or grow above. Don't be in a situation of firefighting mode to only spend your life in, making situations, making or managing situations. And remember, that's what we are doing in the whole life. We are either making situation or managing the situation. Once it is made, we are managing them. Because once a situation means, job is a situation, marriage is a situation, buying a house is a situation, getting a good job promoted and getting a good job is a situation. For some people, well, going overseas and working is a situation. Everything is a situation in life. Yeah, and we are doing what? Constantly engaged in managing and making situation, managing situation, making situation, managing situation. In this pursuit, our whole life is gone. And the real objective of our life, we are not able to do anything for that. The whole life is gone firefighting and managing this situation. And by the time the life comes to an end, we will think that what happened to Brahman, what happened to the self and the supreme consciousness. Never mind, we'll look at into the next life, because this life is already gone. So Bhagwan says, Arjun, nirdvandvo bhava. Then he uses the word nitya sattvasto bhava. Arjun, always try to carve out an intellect which is primarily driven by sattva. Nitya sattva. I'll explain in the next session. Then he says nir yoga kshema bhava. Nir yoga kshema bhava means, I told you in one of the sessions also, yoga means apraptasya prapti, kshema means praptasya rakshanam. Apraptasya prapti means, yoga means our effort to achieve or gain something which is not there in our life right now. And then kshema means what we have achieved after great hard work and difficulty. Now the next effort goes in maintaining that, protecting that. That is called kshema. I'll explain the next one. Atmavan bhava. Atmavan means you should have a focus towards your, or you should have some kind of a dedication, some kind of an effort towards achieving your ultimate goal of knowing yourself, knowing the self, and trying to move an inch towards it. That is what is meant by Atmavan bhava. Rest we will see in detail in the next session. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम. ओम तत्सत्.